r/NoSleep. Posted by u/verified_hunter. The lights in my house stop working between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. It's 3 p.m., and I've been awake for nearly 21 hours. My eyelids are only getting heavier, and despite how much I close them, and how comfortable my bed gets, my mind won't let me fall asleep. It just won't let that feeling of being watched fade away. I hope that writing this will help me out. 2 weeks ago I moved into my new house. I'd been waiting some time now to move away from my apartment, and when I saw this offer I couldn't resist. The house wasn't anything special, but it went for a cheap price. The previous owners had died in an accident, and their son wanted to get rid of the house as quickly as possible. I work nights. It didn't take long to move everything from my apartment to the house. Barely half a day, and when night came I was ready for work. See, I'm a novelist and I seem to get my best writing done in the middle of night. I'm a bit old school and I write on pen and paper. I noticed very early a pattern. Each night, between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. the lights turned off. No matter how many times I flicked the switch, they would not come back on until the hour had passed. I called an electrician, but they found no faults. After a few nights, I bought myself a lamp, one of those large standing lamps you can put into a corner. I plugged it into the port and went to bed. I woke up a bit before midnight, and when the lights turned off I didn't have to stop working, I could just put on the lamp. It went just according to plan. The lights went off and I turned on the lights. They gave me enough light to see my paper, and I don't know what it was, but I got into a trance I haven't been in for a long time. I wasn't in the room anymore. I was the words and the letters on the paper. Even when a white hand waved in my vision, it took me a few moments to realize something was wrong. Fear washed over me, but not the jolt and jerk type, rather the cold type that froze me solid. The pen in my hand stopped, and my eyes were glued to the hands waving, and then slowly reaching closer until they reached for my eyes and touched my eyelids, that had instinctively closed. They tapped a few times. The touch was cold as ice, but also very weak, and they tapped before stopping. "Hello? Can you help me down? Here, look at what's happened to my leg," I heard a whisper coming from the roof. My body couldn't help but flinch when I felt those hands on the back of my neck, massaging the few strands of hair growing there. I don't know what it was, but there was something inside of that voice that disgusted me, and set me on edge. I knew then not to listen to it. I knew that my life was under danger, and I felt that I had to please the creature. "What happened? It's completely burned. Look." The hand stopped massaging the back of my neck, and was now fiddling with my ears, pressing its cold fingers in there. I could hear a smile in the voice. It was toying with me. "Really? That sounds awful. See the burn? I think I'm good. I'll be honest with you. There's no burn. I've been alone in the darkness for quite some time. Let's have a conversation." "Sure." We look at each other when we're having conversation. I heard the smile drop out of the whisper. It was noticeably annoyed now. "No can do, I'm too interested in the text." "Look up." "I'm sorry, but I can't do that." "You know," I heard the voice get louder. The whispering was now just beside my ear. I felt its cold breath brush up against me. "You were smart not to look." The hour passed, and I've never been so thankful for the lights turning on. Both the hand and the voice disappeared, and a few hours later I finally dared look up and found the roof completely empty. I finally took a breath of relief and slumped down on my chair. I'm never working nights again. r/NoSleep. Posted by u/verified_hunter. If you see a face in the ground, run. Damn it all. Damn those birds twittering in the high trees. Damn the ground and its leaves. I was a free man despite hunger and rent. I shouldn't have wandered so far into the forest. I shouldn't have asked it any damn questions. But it's too late for me now, I'm already doomed. I hope this text will help you though, warn you of this fate. 2 large maple trees reached high with vivid, red leaves, and between them was a dirty pale, almost ghost white, face sticking out of the ground covered in leaves. To the side of the face, were 2 small legs sticking out of the ground, and beside them a black arm coming from the ground laid flat. Shock overtook my face and I stepped backwards at the sight. What had happened? I remember thinking. A mix of curiosity and disgust welled up. I wanted to know. It only grew further when I saw the face blink. The face smiled, its lips stretching as far as they could. Those eyes stared up into the sun. I stood there in silence for a minute. Those pupils were still. It only took a few seconds before the sun hurt my eyes. "Do you need any help?" I asked, and waved, my hand blocking the sunlight. The face in the ground didn't notice me. It was like a corpse, except for the occasional blink. Not a noise came out. Nothing. I should have left then, but I stood there staring at the face. A sense of peace washed over me, and the longer I stared at that face, the more it grew. Something inside of me compelled me to dig a hole just beside the face and jump in and stare at the sun. I don't know how long I stood there relishing in that peace, but I do know that a scream broke me out of it. I don't know where the scream came from. It seemed to come from everywhere, every direction, but at the same time nowhere. It could have all been in my head, but it had sounded so real, so desperate. "Hey!" I raised my voice. "Hello? Man, do you need some help? Should I call the cops?" Those eyes jerked away from the sun and snapped onto me. I'm almost certain that they'd been burned through, but somehow they could see me. They knew I was there. I should have just run away then. Damn me. Run. It was a weak voice, one that croaked from far within. Ha ha ha. It was a slow laugh with a completely different voice. It was nothing like what it had just been. I'd never heard a voice like it before. It was deep and filled with authority, but also something more, something distinctly not human. I tried to take a step back, but I realized then that my right foot wouldn't raise itself. My back arched towards the ground, and my head hit up against a root. It hurt, and I remember being surprised at the root, and knowing for a fact that it had not been there. When the world stopped blurring, I raised myself and looked towards my foot, trying to see if it had been caught in anything. A pain, as if a nail pressed itself into my heart, shot through my body. I saw the end of a root curved around my leg, like a snake wrapping itself around its prey, crushing it. I kicked and jerked, and I was filled with joy when my leg managed to make the roots move. But I realized the moment after that I had doomed myself, for the second it moved out, it started pulling. The root pulled my leg with such power that it slowly sunk into the ground with there being nothing I could do. I pulled out my phone, but there was no signal. I looked over to the face, but it wasn't there anymore. The roots continued pulling. They'd crept up further my leg, now entwined around my thigh. Another pair of roots grabbed my other thigh. They pulled me down into the ground with such strength that it felt like my legs would snap, until they did. But that wasn't the worst part. For the last few minutes, I've felt the tip of those roots dig through my feet, and into my shins and into my legs, slowly traveling upwards towards my brain. I've screamed my throat dry. The ground has reached my chest, and they'll envelop my arms in the next minute. I've told you my tale now. I've typed it up on my phone. Heed my warning. Soon I'll be the face in the ground.